Well, thanks for checking out these videos. Here's what you're getting into. These videos are an extended explanation of how we care for, how we love, how we nurture the most precious people in our worlds, our kids. Now, in particular, we're going to focus on how we expose them to religion or how we invite them on to the spiritual journey. Well, I started putting these videos together thinking that they'd be for several new members of our children's team who have joined recently to catch them up on what is kind of a tricky part about Common Thread, how we talk about religion. So, for example, how we talk about the Bible. It's a little different. Every children's curriculum in the world has the Noah's Ark story in it. I mean, with all those cute animals, who doesn't love that? But here's what the Bible is saying when we tell that story. Well, kids, God promised never to do it again. But one time, he decided that every person in the whole earth was so bad that they, along with all their kitty cats and dogs and all the moms and all the dads and all the grandmas and all the grandpas, they all had to die. So he killed them all by drowning them all. So, dear child, God does love you, but you better be at least a little bit afraid, because who knows what that God might do to you. So, no, we don't talk about religion like that. So how do we talk about religion with our kids? Well, if you've been part of the community for any length of time, you know by now we've been involved in this rethinking religion, deconstructing religion journey for a long time, looking again closely at our core meaning-making stories, our core spiritual practices, our growth practices. So I started this project for our kids team, but realized, as you're going to hear in a bit, that we're going to do much better as a spiritual community if our children's team partners with and provides resources for our parents and we work together. So this project then is also for you parents. How does all the rethinking work that we've done, how does that translate to our kids? How do we invite our kids into a healthy religion, onto healthy spiritual journeys? So here's what I hope. I hope that this project gives you a framework, and that once you have the framework, given the tools that are available to all of us on the web, you'll be able to work together, kids team and parents, to help our youngsters build a foundation for a lifetime of healthy spirituality. So let's start by talking just a bit about what our children's ministry is not. It's not Sunday school. It's not a robust curriculum. We can't give our kids any kind of religious literacy, biblical literacy. We can't organize around a comprehensive curriculum the way school does or the way that Sunday school once tried to. You're going to hear next time that we do focus on content and we do emphasize some core concepts, but it's not even close to a comprehensive list. What we do talk about has to be highly selective, where we only do the essentials, because here's what we get. We get 1 hour with our young people one time a week. And a lot of our families share custody every other weekend, or they're stretched to the limit and they need some Sundays for family time. So we don't even really get 1 hour once a week. So you're going to hear, yes, we do organize around content and concepts, but it's a very limited list. We had to choose just the most important things, just the essentials. Recognizing these limits years ago, I sat down with our children's team and we tried to craft what we could do, how we could make our time and our effort as effective as possible, and that's what you're going to hear about today. But when we did that, content and concepts came in a way distant second. What I told the team then, and what I'm telling our new team now, the primary thing that we're going for is that every child, baby in arms, every preschooler hearing a story or coloring a picture, every elementary kid learning to use their voices and their minds, learning to draw conclusions from the stories, our teenagers at a deeper level, engaging conversation and practices together. The primary thing that we're going for is that every child knows that here, in this place, they are seen, they're cherished, they're loved, and they're safe. And they also know that every other kid in the room, right along with them, is also seen and cherished and loved. And this is true when they're irritating. It might surprise you. Kids can be irritating when they misbehave, when they're having conflict with one another, with their teachers, how we respond to them in those times, how we speak to them, how we interact with them, they will know that in this place, they are seen, they are cherished, and they're loved. And in the end, that was no small thing. That makes a huge difference preparing a child for a spiritual future. It's also no small thing because not everybody has the knack for seeing and cherishing and loving kids. Fortunately for us, since the beginning, we've had those people, natural carers. They didn't need a lot of instruction about how to do it. What they did need was permission to de-emphasize content to make space and priority for cherishing. So we do that with our words. We do it with nonverbal communication. We reassure and we acknowledge we are present. We give eye contact to convey warmth and connection. We give smiles to communicate reassurance. You really do belong here. We play together. We laugh together. We have joyful bonding moments together. We listen, give full attention to our children when they share. We celebrate when a child reaches a milestone or tells us about it. We convey our pride and our encouragement. We give the nonverbal nodding and clapping and thumbs upping. We convey calm tones when kids are anxious or when they're nervous. We acknowledge their qualities and their strengths. We even do little things like having snacks together and laughing while we do. And we have learned along the way, one of the best ways to communicate cherish is when things do get tough, when misbehaving happens. Now again, we have been so fortunate since our community began that the people who have worked with our kids have always had the knack. They've spent a lot of time and energy exploring how and thinking through how to keep order in the classroom, because that's important, and at the same time cherish our children. How to modify behavior, because again, that's important, and at the same time let our kids know that they're loved. Acknowledging emotion, helping kids process emotion, affirming their worth, conveying acceptance, cherishing is the cornerstone of our children's ministry. Also, I told the kids team way back when, and it still applies, the spiritual journey is a lifelong endeavor. We're not just working on our kids' spirituality today when we have them. We're looking forward 10 years, 20 years on. Human beings go through life stages, but they also go through spiritual journey stages. And in the early stages, their brains need concrete. Their brains need very specific stories. So, as we'll see in the next few videos, we do concrete, we do stories. But we do those things alongside creating feelings. Wherever we can, we create the feeling of belonging, cherishing, loving. Life and the spiritual journeys will hit rough patches. It happens with predictable timing almost. And when it happens, if our children have been loved in spiritual community, we hope that imprints them with a positive sense that what they need, they can find in spiritual community. So when it's time for them to dig more deeply, we hope that they're disposed to look in spiritual community for the next stage of growth in their lives. So we try our best to associate loving and being loved, cherished, seen, and valued with spiritual community, because tomorrow's coming for our kids. If you haven't, Google Fowler's Stages of Faith. I've spoken about that several times during our Sunday lessons. You might already be familiar with that. When life gets to what Fowler calls stage 4, and the deconstructing begins to happen of the spiritual life so that we can begin to reconstruct. If, first and foremost, we have loved our kids, we hope two things. We hope that we'll have a healthy spiritual community to give to them. We are really working on rethinking religion so that what we can give to them works for them and is healthy. But second, we hope that they'll be disposed to search for spirituality when it's time, and search within the context of a spiritual community. So, loving our kids, laughing and sharing and seeing and honoring, that's the cornerstone of our children's ministry. So in the next video, okay, yeah, after that, content, sure. But that's not where we start. We start with them being loved.